Welcome back. As we mark 100 years, the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission has organized a National Day of Learning. The keynote speaker is Tulsa Native Dr. Cornel West, and the topics will range from what happened to the effects of historical trauma. And here to talk about it is Caroline Shaw, Executive Director of the Opportunity Project, and presenter, author, and community activist Carlos Moreno. First of all, thank you, both of you, for joining us here on BNC and Start Your Day. Caroline, this is an all-day free virtual event. It happens on Thursday, but tell our viewers what else they can expect to see to be fully immersed in this.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And I've really been enjoying the coverage so far this morning. I think the Opportunity Project is really involved in the youth work and youth serving organizations across the city of Tulsa. And we really felt like this was a way where we could support those organizations and their ongoing efforts to educate the community about the massacre and help young people understand and process that and put a current contemporary context around what we know to be history that unfortunately has been veiled for far too long. So what we hope to have not only folks here in Tulsa, but across the country be able to do is to access this programming as it is convenient for them at work, at home, to be able to get resources, background, context to take this learning back into their own communities and their own lives. There are some amazing keynote speakers. Dr. West, you just mentioned. Carlos will be joining as well. And in addition to that, there are some breakout sessions that will be specifically targeted toward both community educators and youth workers, those folks who are doing great work with kids on the ground every single day and really facilitating that learning that happens beyond the classroom. We know that this history has been absent from a lot of our formal education institutions, a lot of textbooks, even right here in Tulsa. And we want to change that. So we want to make sure that there's every opportunity for young people, families, folks within and without Tulsa to have the tools and resources they need to not only understand the history, but understand the implications for young people today.
Yeah, they need to know it all. Carlos, let's talk to you a little bit. You're the author of a new book called The Victory of Greenwood. So your focus on a different perspective. We're talking about the resiliency that we've seen in that community. How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, well, when I first arrived, I'm not originally from Tulsa. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. And when I first moved here, it was really the community of Greenwood that took me in, that gave me my first shot in my career. And I always respected that. And I always felt that that was the spirit of Greenwood. And over the years, over the time that I've lived in Tulsa, about 20 years now, the story of Greenwood has always fascinated me. And I found over and over throughout history that Greenwood was this thriving community because it was so welcoming, because it accepted everyone, no matter the color of your skin and no matter where you came from or who you were. Greenwood took you in, and that was has always been the spirit of Greenwood. And looking at the bookshelves and seeing that most of the books about this community are simply about the massacre and nothing else really hasn't sat well with me, and is really not the Greenwood that I heard about from the elders when I worked at this historic newspaper. So I really wanted to give people a sense, a deeper sense of who these people were before the massacre, and who the people were who rebuilt the community after it was destroyed, who stayed in Oklahoma and persevered and went on really to influence not just Tulsa, but the entire country. All of the people who are featured in this book are just really, truly have always been inspiring to me, and I wanted to share that with others.
Yeah, and Dre Clark was telling us how they rebuilt and they were better than ever after 5 years, but then there are other factors that caused this demise. I want to ask you real quick, you just mentioned that you're an implant there. A lot of people, even in Tulsa, said they didn't know a lot about Black Wall Street because it just wasn't talked about. How much did you know coming to Tulsa, and how much was it talked about once you finally got there?
Yeah, I didn't really know anything about the history of Tulsa at all, black or white. And so everything was new to me when I first arrived here. And, I really consider it an honor to have sort of landed in the time and place, because during the late 1990s was really when the Black community here in Tulsa began to be more vocal about it. There was the 2001 report that your viewers had heard about earlier. But in the preparation for that, a woman by the name of Eddie Faye Gates began using video to document the stories of survivors who were still around at the time. And she had started that work in the mid-1990s. State Senator Maxine Horner, who passed recently, and Oklahoma House Representative Don Ross formed the 1921 Race Massacre Commission during this time, during the late 90s when I arrived. So it was really a time when maybe not necessarily the white community of Tulsa, but certainly the Black community of Tulsa became much more aware about all of these events and began talking about it, and the
Right.
seeking of reparations has been going on that long, since the mid-90s.
Right.
So, Carol, let's ask you, as so many people are captivated by these events 100 years ago, where can people get more information and register for Thursday's National Day of Learning? How does that happen for folks?
Yeah, absolutely. We welcome folks from all across the country. The virtual event starts at 9 a.m. Central Time and continues well into the afternoon. Registration is ongoing. The easiest way probably is to go to our social media, where we have the link listed. It's kind of a lengthy URL, but it's at the OP Tulsa, both on Twitter and Facebook, and folks are welcome to go there and click through to that link and go ahead and register. We really want, again, families, youth workers, community educators, all folks who are interested in working with young people and helping them understand and process this history and understand, again, the implications for us today. So we really welcome folks to come and register, take in as much or as little as you can. And there are lots of fantastic resources that are available through the Commission's website as well. And then the school district here in Tulsa, Tulsa Public Schools, has put together a great set of resources for educators that we encourage people to take advantage of as well.
Wow.
Yes, once again, yeah, awesome. Cornel West is involved once again. Also, Carlos will be talking about changing the narrative on Thursday as well. So looking forward to that. Executive Director of the Opportunity Project, Carolyn Shaw, and author and community activist, Carlos Moreno. Thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for starting your day with us here this morning. We'll be right back after this 3-minute break. Stick around.